Hi, everybody out there. This is Aaron, and you're listening to And Out Come the Words podcast. I wanted to do a little introduction on this one. I sat down and had a long talk with a brother, a buddy, a friend, the most inspirational. You know what? When I started this podcast, I wanted to talk to my friends and learn about them. I wanted to kind of learn about everything, learn about anything I didn't know. And this episode definitely did it. I knew it would touch home because Darrin has a rare disease that there is no research, there's no cure, and there's definitely very little funding for the research for the cure. So he has to deal with it day in, day out, every minute, every day. And as some know, my mom also had a disease like this, which if there's no research, then there's no money for research, then it's hard. They won't even look for it. So they'll give you something, as you'll hear in this podcast. They'll just say, you know what, here, take some weed and live the rest of your life and try to make it. So how Darrin does this, he is an absolute inspiration. And then, as I said, I kind of want to do the podcast to learn about my friends. I mean, you know about your friends, but you don't know some things. And I definitely learned a ton. And Darrin, I love you, buddy. You are an absolute inspiration. So what he has is called RSD, also known as reflex sympathetic dystrophy. Some doctors, we get into this, but some doctors call it RSD. Some doctors say CRPS, which is complex regional pain syndrome. It's basically a burning sensation throughout your entire body all the time. Some people have it in their hand or their back or their leg or their foot. Darrin has it in his entire body. Treatment can help, but again, there's no cure. And it is a lifelong thing. So again, this episode hit home. Darrin is an amazing human being, and talking with him, I learned a lot. And the guy is amazing. He's, like I said, you'll hear. So everything with Darrin, the guy has the most infectious laugh in the world, but with everything that he goes through, how he does it is just mind-blowing. He's also a poet, among many other things. And here's something that he actually wrote. Here it is. Find the beauty within your day. If at the end of the day your eyes did not find beauty, look in the mirror. There you will find unmatched beauty. So, again, I probably won't do intros too much, but this one is near and dear to my heart. Again, Darrin, I love you, brother. Learned a lot. Looked at my own life, so that's exactly what I want to do with this podcast, and I hope other people can get something from it. So this is episode 4, Darrin Noble. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, and one other thing. The beginning of it, this is the first time in a podcast that I tried doing it, either Facebook chat or Google chat or something else, because Darrin lives in Colorado. If you listen to the wonderful, no longer show J More Sports, Darrin is D in Colorado. So you knew his laugh. It was a sound drop on the show. National sports radio show. Hilarious, amazing, wonderful show. So the whole episode, D makes me laugh, and his laugh is very infectious. It's awesome. So we were talking, and the video kept cutting out, and we tried, okay, well, let's go to Facebook chat. And then he started messing around with filters, and we started laughing. And then so then his audio cut out. So then I tried switching to something else. And then at one point, he couldn't hear me. And he was talking to somebody, I think his kids, as they just got home. And I could hear this whole thing from him talking to himself, saying stone gibberish. Stone gibberish. As I said, one of the treatments for this rare disease is they just say, here's weed, live your life, try to make it through. So anyway, I kept hearing this. I kept saying, D, can you hear me? And then I switched something, and then sure enough, he could hear me. So I was listening to him for a while, kind of laughing, but then we finally hooked up. So the beginning of this is us talking, and then all of a sudden it goes silent, and then I kind of cut out some things. I cut out a long delay, and then cut right into when we started talking. So that's what that is. Again, Darrin Noble, an inspiration, an awesome human being. Everything he made it through is amazing. So here it is. Enjoy.
And I'm like, whoa. Nope.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome at he's like the middle guy where he'll kind of calm you down a little bit and kind of be like, all right, chill out. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
We're good here.
It's helpful, to have somebody say, hey, before you really go crazy, before you embarrass yourself, by just screaming at somebody through Twitter.
Exactly. 140 characters. Just chill out.
Exactly. Can't really put out your full manifesto,
All right. D, can you hear me?
If you want to do your own podcast, huh?
Yeah. So.
D.
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 Yo.
You got me?
Yo. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
How long have you been able to hear me?
Like 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
You're shitting me.
No, I heard the whole stone gibberish. I kept saying something, and I'm like, oh, wait, I don't think he can hear me.
I can hear you. Asshole. You're going to add that as a back end, a special bonus feature, huh?
Oh, this
special
is going to be
bonus D.
There's going to be an extended cut.
Extended cut. D in his natural setting.
Yes. All right. Let's
when he thinks no one is listening.
Let's just do this. Let's just go.
Give me 1 minute. The boys just got here. I got to let them know. Break shit off. All right. Guys.
Take your time.
Somewhat quiet.
Nah, who cares?
Who fucking cares? Fuck it.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. 11:30. Cinco de Mayo. Whoa, beer. Whoa, Chuggy. Easy, Chuggy.
I still got some.
Yeah, I think you're missing a piece of your glass.
No, it's a shorty.
Where'd the long stem go?
I broke it off. No, I'm just kidding.
Fancy.
No, it's not even. It's plastic.
Fuck that. Shit, tonk. Who needs that?
It's plastic. So I don't drop it.
I love it.
All right. Let's just
do it. I guess we're gonna do
Let's
this.
just do it before we lose connection again.
No.
All right. I'm here with D.
Nope.
In Colorado.
Nope.
Darrin Noble. Happy Cinco de Mayo, brother. Again.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
So I wanted to get you on. I wanted to talk to you about something that bothers you, bothers me, bothers all of our friends that you have it. It's a disease that nobody knows about. There's no research. Same thing kind of like my mom had. Nothing.
Yep.
There's no research whatsoever. There's no cure.
And there's no want for research on the end of those who pay for the research. It's like they don't see it as necessary because it doesn't hit great numbers.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to pronounce it with me, so let's just do it on 3. Ready? 1, 2. You're a Cowboys fan.
Yes. Tattooed on me.
That's the
Son
disease.
named Dallas.
No. Okay, in all seriousness, we'll get to that later. All right. It's reflex sympathetic dystrophy. Yep.
Yeah.
Explain it.
It's gone by several different names. I should explain that part first, okay?
Yep.
Because that's kind of confusing to a lot of people, doctors too. That's one of the big things that, it's like, well, how, it's got 3 names. What are we supposed to do here? And they noticed it a lot after World War I. Soldiers had injuries that the pain was like way greater than what the injury was, okay? They had taken some shrapnel maybe, and suffered the nerve damage in a leg or an arm or a hip.
Yep.
Okay. And then, or just a steep cut, and it somehow got in there and, it severed the right nerves. And what happens is the nerves don't think the brain's listening to them. Okay.
Okay.
Because they're sending these constant signals.
Yeah.
And so at first it's just this normal injury. And then it progresses because the nerves around it start to flare up. Okay?
All right.
Because so all these nerves are like, crap. The brain's not listening to me. So I need to ask my neighbor nerves, because we have nerves all over us.
Yeah. Yep.
And major nerves and lesser nerves. And so it's like I need to ask all the nerves around me to help me send pain signals to the brain, so that knows it's hurt, because it's not listening. There's something wrong here, and so those nerves don't think the brain's listening, and so they ask the nerves around them, and then if you don't stop it within a 6 to 8 month period, it falls like dominoes. Nerves in the affected area are sending constant pain signals to the brain. Okay?
And they're shooting all over your body.
Yeah. And some, thankfully, are contained, like their right leg.
Yeah.
Always hurts, like it's on fire, and it's just flared up and red and swollen, and you can't put weight on it, don't know why. There's no torn tendons, there's nothing wrong visibly, but there's something in there, and what it does is it affects the sympathetic nerve in your spine. There's a lower nerve in your spine.
I was going to say, where's that nerve? Yeah.
It's around your lower spine on the backside.
Okay.
And it curves up into the upper spinal cord.
Okay.
And its job is to regulate nerves and the flow of traffic of pain.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And what happens is, for some reason, they don't know. Doctors and specialists have flat out told me, we have no clue why. But the sympathetic nerve in your spinal cord hits the gas and just nails it, to the floor, and it gets stuck. And it cannot let up, no matter what they do.
Have you been to any of the Mayo clinics or any of those, or?
No, that's our next step. Okay. Our pain specialist just suggested that last week, and so I'm looking into the one in Arizona. Okay. Because there's one there, which is closer than
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
or where's the other one? There's 3 of them.
Yeah, with my mom's, they wanted to send her to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing, and my mom just didn't want to do it, and she's like, I'll just battle through and see what happens. But.
Wow. No, we're more than happy to do that, and gonna start finding a shaman to see what can be done there. We even flat out talked with a pain doctor, and she about going to Tibet, and going to the Himalayas and seeing if we can't find a monastery that has a cure, that may know something that we don't, or does something we don't. That's the point, desperation, where we're at.
And that's the thing, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. It's like, it just sucks because there's so much shit. Like my mom, no one, she was in the, what is it?
ICU?
ICU, yes. It's been so much. So she's in the ICU for, dude, she's in the ICU for 4 months. No one knew what she had. But then it took a special doctor to figure it out and be like, hey, take her off everything you have, because it's not the right treatment for her.
Uh-huh.
So then it was like, okay, well, this is what you have. It's myasthenia gravis. There's not much research on it. There's no cure for it. This is just what it is. Just deal with it. And it's like, well,
here's a strap of leather, bite on it.
Yeah. and that's kind of what they told you. They're just like, here's some weed. Go ahead, have some fun.
Yeah.
It's like,
here's some morphine. Man, at first, Jesus, 4 years ago, I was on, I don't care what people know, whatever. It's just, it's medication. Right now, I take 90 milligrams of morphine a day.
Yeah. And that's your cure. Like, that's a joke.
That's my cure. And I take 350 milligrams, the max dosage of Lyrica. It's a nerve pill. Yeah. It just disrupts the nerve signals, and so they don't always go through. And I take a bunch of other medications, 11 in total. But the only narcotic I take right now is morphine.
How many surgeries have you had?
What's that?
How many surgeries have you had? I know you've had a bunch of surgeries.
22.
Jesus Christ.
At last count was 22, and the last one I had was 7 weeks ago.
And both of them,
the one before that,
and all of them, they're trying to figure out. Like
some, like I've had 2 on my left knee because I've torn every tendon in my left knee at least twice.
Jesus.
A horse kicked it once. My own horse. It was in a pen. It shouldn't have been. I was trying to get it out. It was dark. And I was like, fuck it, whatever. And I walked right behind her. And usually she's fine, but she just kicked me. And it dislocated my knee. And the lower part of my knee is going left. And I had a big old hoof print in my leg. And it was bad. The horse was trying to jump on me and my dad's dog. It was his half husky, half wolf. It was a really cool dog.
Yeah.
It was on top of me, biting at the horse to keep the horse away from me. My parents and my buddy who lived... What's that?
Was this in Colorado?
Yeah.
Okay.
On my parents' ranch in Fairplay.
Okay.
They used to have a ranch out there.
Okay.
When I was teenager, 18, 19, 20, around there. Like those years. And I lived out there with them in a pop-up camper for a while in Fairplay. Like 11,000 feet where I'm in a pop-up camper. No heat, it's like, and then I finally got one with sturdy walls. Yeah. My dad told me I need to upgrade or move out. So I upgraded.
Wait, I just want to interrupt you. Anybody who's listening right now, D has the best laugh ever. So we're gonna keep that going.
Nope. You're killing me.
It's contagious.
I do miss it being on national radio. That was pretty cool, I must say. Having Ramos drop my laugh whenever Jay pointed to him, that was pretty cool.
I miss Ramos. What is he doing now?
He's doing Steve Gorman's show.
Oh, yes.
And he's doing the afternoon show that
with Bayer.
That Bayer does the sports on.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not sports, but the news, I should say. Because it was the John Ramos show for a while. Which it was pretty cool.
Okay, so we were just talking about something super serious, and then we veered off.
Well, it's a little levity, man. A little levity. Woo!
And that's what I love. That's fine.
So let's go back. Let's go back.
Okay. Actually, let's go back to something else. So you grew up in Texas, right?
I was until I was 12.
And then you moved to Colorado.
Yep.
Where in Colorado?
Moved to Summit County, Silverthorne.
Okay. And then
it's in the Breckenridge area.
Yeah. How did you get to where you're at now?
Bree's dad and family grew up in this town.
Okay.
And her grandma and cousins were still here forever. And her parents moved here.
Gotcha.
And her mom, Bree's, my wife's mom, had a stroke when Bree was 13.
Oh, wow.
She had an aneurysm the size of a peach in her brain.
Jesus.
And so she lost ability of her left side. So her right side, excuse me. And so she needs help, and her dad works and he's a trucker.
Okay.
So he worked for a local gravel company to work local, so he doesn't have to be gone a lot. Because in the past he was gone, and we'd have to look out for her mom. So that's why we moved here, was for family to help out.
Yeah.
You know.
Of course.
And,
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
totally get. Yeah.
Totally.
Completely get
Yeah.
that. Yeah. No, it's just funny because like when you told me where you're at, I was like, you were really close to where all my family is.
That's awesome.
Because we're in Pueblo,
That's
so
awesome.
it's like next time I'm out there, we'll definitely hit it up. It was just this time around we were doing the family stuff, and it was just
deep family stuff. It wasn't like a fun
Oh no,
deep.
no.
It was.
It was fun because we never get to see each other, and when we do, it's awesome, and I love those people. So yeah. Anyway, okay. So we were talking.
The pictures look cool.
Where were we at? Oh, no,
Lake.
the what?
You were at a lake with those pictures.
Oh,
Where were we at in the
yeah.
conversation?
Yeah, San Isabel.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Dude,
I forgot.
beautiful
That's a good
land.
I blame the weed.
Yeah, San Isabel is gorgeous. We spread my parents there, and my uncles are there, and every family's there. It was like their old fishing spot, so we're like, you know what?
Right on.
Yeah, and I think the day I was gonna come out and see you, Steph wasn't feeling too good with future baby. So I was like, I can't get out.
And your boy got sick too.
And everybody was sick. Yeah. Yes.
Yep. I remember. Yeah, you're like, he just got sick all over the car. I'm like, it's all good. I just did the same thing.
No, we were driving to the airport, and we had to pull over in Colorado Springs because he's like, dude, he's like, I'm gonna puke. I'm like, stop puking. So anybody who's listening to this, if your kid is gonna puke, pull over in a Target parking lot, because you have all the resources you need to clean out a car. All right. So anyway, back to RSD. That's what I want to get to, and then we'll.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah. Let's back up to the actual name real quick. Yes. I kind of got astray there.
That's fine. Yeah.
It's called RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, but it's now a lot of doctors are calling it CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome.
When did that change?
Within the last year or two.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Some people are going with it. Some are staying with it. They know RSD is an old term, that was used for several decades, and now it's all of a sudden CRPS.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it was what they call it. I can't remember what they called it. It was like a soldier's injury or some type. Not battle fatigue, but that was what they called PTSD.
Yep. Okay. Just something. Yeah.
Something. And then they started calling it CRPS, and then they started calling it RSD, then CRPS again. So I'm like, just make up your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get doctors still, anesthesiologists who haven't worked with me. They're like, I tell them I have full body RSD. They're like, okay, yeah, because a lot of people with full body RSD, they don't get out of bed. They don't do anything. They have catheters. They don't shower. They don't do anything. And I can't do that. I have to fight it. I spent we didn't know what it was in 2005. It was July 21st, 2005. Went in for emergency surgery in Vail. Yeah, July 21st, 2005. Bree had to rush me to the hospital. The urologist was based out of Vail.
Yep.
He would come over to Summit, but he was based out of Vail, and so he was in Vail, and he's like, "Just bring him here." I'm at the hospital, and my testicle, I only have one. My testicle was torsioning, it was twisting on itself, and so all the blood flow was stopping to it. And so they had to do emergency testicular torsion surgery on me to stop it. And if not, I would have lost a lot of parts, and I would have to be on hormone pills and whatnot. And so this doctor, the urologist, started before the surgeon got there because I was starting to really turn black, he said. And the nurses were like, pardon me, they're like, we have to get in there.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, the surgeon's not here. They're like, we have to get in there. You need to do it. And the cut he makes is right below your belt line on your right side. Like down, find your belly button, go down to your waistline, go over about 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
From your hip joint over to your manhood is the scar.
Wow.
And they have to cut in that far. They have to gain all that access.
Yeah.
And so he makes the incision, and right there is where these clusters of nerves sit. Okay.
Okay.
They're about this half a fist size. Okay. Of nerves that sit right there, and they bundle up before they shoot down the legs.
So
all right.
Well, is that like your pelvic bone, like right, like lower abdomen? Okay. So it's right around there.
Yeah, both sides of your pelvic, about and that's
yeah.
below the waistline area.
The Ryan Gosling area.
Yeah, there you go. And those stupid muscles.
The sexy muscles.
Yeah. And that's where these clusters of nerves are on everyone.
Oh.
And your nerves come down through your upper body, gather, and then go down your legs. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He sliced right through the right cluster. Now, when I was a year old, I had spinal meningitis.
So he sliced through him on purpose, or he sliced through him, that's what he had to do?
Completely by accident. Went to the wrong spot.
Shit. Okay. Wow.
Surgeon said he needed to cut more by my penis and down, not left to right. He needed to cut vertical.
Wow.
Along my back and everything. So it opened me up that way to avoid that cluster of nerves.
Yeah.
But he grabbed scalpel, cuts too deep also, and nailed that cluster. Okay.
Yep.
That cluster gets opened up. All those nerves are going ballistic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They start doing the sympathetic thing. Hey, the brain's not listening to me. I'm sending these signals, but it's not doing shit. Okay. No, nothing. No, DMT is coming. No, nothing. Okay. So, ask all, nerves around it, to ask the nerves around it, to ask the nerves around it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's when the RSD starts hitting. Okay. It starts building in you. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like it's resetting the muscle memory of the nerves, basically. Okay. Instead of, only sending pain signals when there is an injury, we're just sending pain signals.
Wow.
Okay. Even though there's an injury, but the nerves around it aren't injured, just the nerves in the single area. But then the nerves around it start to send pain signals. Okay.
Yep.
And my entire lower body starts to hurt. All right. And I had spinal meningitis when I was a year old. Okay. So my spine is weak as it is.
Yep.
And in 2003, I had herniated L4 and L3 in the lower spine. 2 vertebrae in the lower spine herniated. It was work comp, so it didn't get fixed right. They just had me do physical therapy to build up the nerves, the muscles around it.
Put it together.
Yep. And so they're still injured, okay? And my spine is weak as it is. The RSD looks for a weak area to go and settle in. It went straight to my spine.
Wow.
Usually it'll go to like my left knee. If my spine weren't jacked up, it would have gone to my left knee or my right shoulder, where I've had 2 surgeries on each of them.
Yeah.
To be completely replaced. Like I have screws in my left knee. But so it goes into my back, and I'm in the hospital in Vail for pain treatment. They don't know why I hurt so bad, why my lower body is turning purple.
What the fuck?
And then after about 6 weeks, Bree noticed my back was black and blue, just bad, my lower back. And she finally got the doctors to notice. God, it fucking hurt. Sorry, I scratched. And
Don't scratch.
it itched. I had to. It was bothering me.
Take another hit.
Yeah, I will. I just loaded it too. So Bree shows them, and they're like, "What the fuck?" They do all kinds of X-rays, MRIs, and whatnot, and they're like, "Wow. So was it like that before?" And they're like, Bree's like, "No, it wasn't like that." And I'm like, "I don't remember it looking like that." It had gone in and herniated, bulged, and fractured every one of my lower 5 vertebrae. And so it has put everything to the right and put pressure on all those nerves and pinched them, and has cut some nerves completely, just done, cut them in half.
Jesus.
It was starting to infect nerves, which is never good. What are you doing to me?
Huh?
I heard a click.
No, there's no click.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot you through the computer. Click.
No, I was like, oh, what's wrong with the audio now?
Oh, no, we're good. Nothing. No, click is your lighter smoking. No, we're good. There's no click.
So they figure out that my lower 5 are all herniated, bulged, and fractured.
Jesus. So this disease attacks. This is so weird how the human body works. Like, how crazy is that? Your nerves.
Looks for
So the nerves
weak
are looking
spot.
for a weakness to attack and settle.
Right?
Why? Like, that's so weird. And then my mom's saying it was an overproduction of white blood cells.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yep.
if the weather changed and they thought something was going on, white blood cells would say, "Go to sleep. We'll take over," and they would knock her out. And she would take naps. She would take naps for hours after she slept, and that's what kind of did everything. Is my dad was like, "Hey, you got to wake up," and she wouldn't wake up. So I was like, "Well, what the hell?" So her with myasthenia gravis, the disease says the white blood cells work so much where your involuntary muscles do not work. So holding up your eyelids or your lungs or stuff that you don't even think about, it shuts down. Which is the weirdest thing in the world. Why?
Right? That's like, I just don't understand like how it just can shut things off.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, you're done. No, you're done here.
Well, but
shouldn't the human body? I don't know. I don't know.
But but the thing, like, what you have is like your nerves. Why would they just say, "Oh, here's a weak spot. Let's just go chill over here for a little bit"? That makes no sense.
Right? Weak spot to settle because it won't fight back.
Yeah.
You know, because your body tries to heal itself. And it's like, well, we'll go in here. It's already fucked up. The nerves are already screaming anyway. So we'll just go in here. It's a fucking, I wish it wouldn't have happened at all. And so, of course, so after the surgery, after I got cut, okay,
yeah,
they saved me. They saved my testicle. They saved my penis. They saved all my junk. And
cheers to that.
I was in, yeah, right. I was in incredible pain afterwards because the RSD was settling in. And, you know, the nerves are cut, and I'm like just crying, screaming pain. They've got me near knocked out, you know, just like everything's weird. And 4 nights later, I remember specifically, you know how it is, a storm in the mountains. It's loud, thunder. It's the lightning's right there.
Yep.
It's all right there,
yep.
You know, and in the valley and vale, it's just crazy. So it's loud and crazy. It's pouring rain outside. I hear thunder and whatnot, but I also felt water on my hand, my right hand. And I'm laying in a hospital bed, okay?
Yeah.
And I wake up, and it's the fucking urologist bawling his eyes out over me.
What?
Yes.
Why?
Dead, dude, I shit you not. Because
I believe you. I just don't. What is he doing?
He knows what he did.
Oh.
And he's not supposed to do this, he says, but he had to tell me what he did.
That's fucked up.
And he's bawling, and he was just out of his out of it with just grief, and telling me I'm going to have a rough life. He's going to do what he can, but the hospital's got his hands tied. They don't even want him to be talking to me. He's not supposed to be there, but he knows a couple of nurses on the floor that got him in there.
What the fuck?
He was in and out.
Have you talked to him since?
Yeah.
And
I never sued him.
You what?
Oh, I never sued. I've had doctors.
It's a messy road.
Of course, friends are like, dude, you should sue that motherfucker. He saved my life.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? And then he was honest with me.
Yeah.
And
he felt remorse. He felt.
Exactly.
He knew that.
I spent a month and a half or more. I spent my birthday in the hospital that year. Which is just sad.
So this happened. This happened 2005, right?
Yep. This happened 2005 July.
Yeah.
And this was September. By the time it had shifted and everything.
Yeah.
My back.
Yep.
But the urologist conversation was 4 days after the surgery that started it all, that cut the nerves. And so I spent months in the hospital for pain therapy, pain treatment, and never.
Even wait, say that again. It cut out. It cut out a second.
I spent all that time in Vail Hospital, surgery, a month and a half, close to 2 months of medicine alarm. I spent close to 2 months in the hospital just for pain treatment.
Jesus.
And on all kinds of medication, having all kinds of antibiotics flushed through me, trying to kill whatever it was. The infectious disease specialist kept coming over once a week to say, well, I think if we just take the testicle, it'll be fine. Like, whoa, crazy dude, get out of my fucking room. Like, seriously. Yeah. I woke up, I get out of the shower one day and he's standing in there. I think we should just take it. Look at it. It's purple. I'm like, dude, get out of here. And so, and I had sports injuries prior to being ill because I was an athlete before all this. And
and that's
tore up my knee. Yeah. And so everything I'd ever had done in Vail, paid for.
Wow.
Everything paid. We were like, okay, we should go down to the billing office, and see what we owe, because it's going to be big, and they're like, we don't even see you in the hospital. Like,
wow.
You were here? What? So they scrubbed it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the urologist refused to see me because I had to go back to him. And then he's like, you just need to go see a different urologist.
Wow.
I can't see you anymore due to my lawyer said I can't see you.
Yeah.
So okay. They were holding their breaths thinking this dude's going to sue our asses off.
Yeah, we're fucked.
Yeah. We just gave him a permanent disorder.
You kind of became an alien. You kind of became an alien where you're like, you know what? This guy doesn't exist. Nope.
Exactly. Yeah. Done. Gone.
I wanted to get into kind of just what you mentioned. You were an athlete.
Yep.
Talk to me about that, because I don't think too many people know about that, because I know a lot about you, but I didn't know to the extent of what.
Oh. Yeah, well, because everyone meets me now and sees me in the chair and weak and
no, I just hear you giggling and I'm like, there's no way this guy's.
I was a serious no drinking, no smoking pot. I didn't start smoking pot until I was 17.
So
I was 2 weeks from my 18th birthday, and I started smoking pot.
2 weeks. Wait, say that again.
I was 2 weeks. I was 2 weeks away from being 18.
Anybody listening to this? I never smoked pot.
Never touched the devil's lettuce. Oh, the devil's grass. So
the
no,
dirty gold.
I was a baseball player, mostly, and
Tell everybody what you told me, because I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Oh, I was lined up, ready to go into AAA for the Rockies as first base.
So, wait, you moved to Texas to Colorado when?
I was 12.
Oh, okay, so early, and then
So 1980, end of 88, beginning of 89.
Oh, nice. So then,
Yeah,
what school, or how did they find you? What school did you go to?
I went to Summit High School, but at the time when my mom's really religious and my dad's really against the government. Okay.
Okay.
So,
I mean, that makes sense.
Going into the fourth grade, yeah, but at the time it was wacko. Going into fourth grade, my mom and a bunch of her friends find out that they're going to start teaching I have 3 siblings. My brother is a year older than me, and my youngest sister is 2 years older than me. My oldest sister is 8 years older than me. Okay?
Wait, you lost me on that one. So
my oldest sister is 8 years older than me.
Your oldest sister is 8 years older than you, okay?
My youngest sister
You did this so backwards. Okay.
Who's
the next brother up to you? So the closest person.
My brother is a year older.
Okay.
My sister Corinza is 2 years older than me.
Okay. And then
my sister Melissa is 8 years older than me.
Yeah. Got it now.
Yeah.
All right, we're good.
And so they were gonna start teaching my youngest sister's class, so 6th grade class, birds and bees, sex ed. Okay.
Yep.
So that wasn't gonna fucking happen. All right. They yanked the 3 of us. My oldest sister had already left school. She was done. Got her GED. She was done.
Yeah.
And mostly just to leave the house. My dad was physical and angry.
Did you get along with him?
No.
Never mind. I'm not going to get Dr. Phil on you. Let's
just as my father. Doyle.
No, I want to know about you. I don't care about. We're not going Dr. Phil.
So they yank us all out of fucking school, okay? And my dad's like, great, I don't have to pay fucking school taxes anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way, but anyway, my mom's like, great, they won't teach you that shit, so we're going to put you into a Baptist school.
Ugh.
We were Church of Christ.
Yeah.
And so we go to this Baptist school for a year, and then we go to a Catholic school for 2 years.
Okay.
Right? It's like, what the fuck? And
so Baptist and then Catholic.
Which
one's Baptist?
God.
Is there speaking in tongues and all that other stuff?
No, not in Baptist. That's what a Church of Christ, which is what I was raised.
Okay.
Church of Christ is considered a cult. Yeah, we grew up on a compound.
No,
yeah.
I'm just trying to think, I don't want to say cult. Unless you're Scientology, you're not a fucking cult.
Yeah, but no, there are justifiable, recognized religions that you do speak in tongues.
No, yeah, and I was just saying because a lot of my family's church, they speak in tongues, and that's not an issue. I mean, that's your belief. That's totally fine. But I'm trying to think of what their religion is, like what it.
I can't remember what Baptist.
I don't know.
Yeah, we because we were Church of Christ, we weren't allowed to go like daily prayer services and whatnot in the school. We were told that was our homework time, basically, because we weren't of their faith. Just and that's the same with the Catholic school. We weren't of the faith, so we just stayed in class. And these, like the Catholic school, it was all one room.
Oh, trust me. Kid I grew up Catholic. I knew. I went to Catholic. Yeah. My mom, she until she could not walk anymore with her disease, she would deliver hostess and like the Eucharist to people. Like
Jeez.
She was. Everybody told me, she's like, she is a saint. She could be a saint. She is the sweetest woman in the world.
That's awesome.
But I was like, Mom, and when I told her that we're switching over to like Wells, which is like is pretty much Lutheran, she's like, you know what? As long as you believe in something, I don't care. Just believe in something. Yeah. So. Oh, and by the way, Richard Lackey keeps texting me. I told him.
What is he texting?
I told him, I said, if you have a question for D, please send it my way. Otherwise, this conversation is done.
What does America's dentist want?
He was at. I'm waiting. He's at a concert right now.
So we're getting drunk Lackey questions.
Perfect. And that's yeah, the best.
That'll work. That fits.
So
okay. We were in Sweden. Then they pulled us out.
Yeah.
And did homeschool.
Okay. Oh wow! Right? At what age?
So, I was shit.
You were playing baseball the entire time, right? Or no?
No, not in Texas. I wasn't allowed.
What?
No, my dad didn't. No. Wow. No.
You have a way bigger story there.
Yeah.
For how positive you are now.
That's why. Because I'm everything he isn't.
No, but it seems like you're everything. Everything you shouldn't be.
Oh, because of all that?
No,
I was very negative for a while. I was very negative, very broody, very depressed.
I mean, like everything.
So
everything that you've just told me. I mean, you should be the biggest asshole in the world, but
so
you're not. You're the biggest sweetheart in the world.
Thank you.
And
don't
bring your wife into this.
She has everything to do with me being the way I am now. Because otherwise, yeah. And honestly, the RSD has a lot to do with it. The perspective. You know, get a different perspective from this point of view.
What do you mean? So the thing that brings you down is actually making you more positive?
Yes. Because one, as being a disabled person, you learn quick that you're one of the lowest minorities in society. Okay? Mm-hmm. And you realize real fast what that feels like. And no one cares about your situation unless you're paying them to care, like a doctor. And then sometimes they don't believe you until you they stick you with a needle and you scream. And then they do test and realize, wow, you're in a ton of pain. You know, because with a CAT scan, you can see pain receptors build up on someone's nerves.
Yep.
And the CAT scan, I had to go to the emergency room 2 weeks ago. And because I got shingles after the surgeries. I have shingles on my shoulders, on my upper back, and underneath my arms. I was screaming so bad, it would hurt so bad to lay down because that's where the shingles are and that's where my back hurts anyway. And just being touched hurts. And so they had to lay me down for a CAT scan. I can't do MRIs because I have so much metal in me.
Yeah.
I don't stem units, two screws in my left knee, anchors in my right. But anyway, so a lot of this, who I am, evolves around what I go through, and I have so much empathy for other people. And when y'all tells me you're sick, or like when Marco's gout was bothering him real bad, that bothers me.
Yeah.
That, because I feel that. I can't watch TV shows about medical dramas, and if there's a surgery scene in a movie, I have to close my eyes and plug my ears, because I cannot handle it. I cannot handle seeing someone else in pain, because I know what true pain is.
Yeah.
And I live through it constantly. There's not a second of my day for the last 12 years. There's not a second where I haven't had pain. Awake. I've passed out from pain. I've woken up in the middle of surgeries because of pain. I've screamed so loud, people in the waiting room freak out because they just put the nerve block in me before hip surgery.
Yeah.
And then the doctor wipes away my tears and says, "Wow, you really do have RSD."
Really? I know.
And then he tells the surgeon that, and the surgeon's like, "Yeah, this is the second time you've worked on him. This is the second year in a row we're doing his hip. Because of that, he fell and busted his hip. Now we have to redo it."
Wow.
And yeah, they had to reshape my socket and everything, so it was all impacted.
Yeah.
And luckily the tendon in your hip didn't tear. Thankfully, it didn't. It starts with an L. I can't remember.
Ligament? No.
A lot of football players get it. Baseball players get it. I can't.
I know. Yeah. I know.
Anyway, so
yeah. So your positive outlook on life, is spun because
I know what it feels like to be the dog left out in the rain. Physically, mentally. Growing up, I never had my own room. My brother did. My sisters did. I didn't. My dad wanted a son, and as soon as he had my brother, he was done.
Really?
And when my mom gets pregnant, she wants to keep me. She keeps me. He calls me every day of my life. When I was growing up, he called me the mistake.
My uncle, who's actually closest to you right now, his name was Boo Boo forever, or Whoops, or Goops.
Jesus.
No, but he,
in a joking way.
Yeah, probably. I don't know how it was back then, but that's the one uncle that I want you to meet, because I think you guys would get along. You have the same music taste, same everything taste. But
so my dad never called me by name. He always called me chubby little brother.
What?
Oh yeah, that's serious. He had me we had to all sit at dinner table together, and he had me sit to his right, and my mom sit to his left.
Why?
When he thought I was done eating, he would take the ashtray that was sitting right in front of him and put it right in my plate.
Wow.
Of food. And then yell at me for wasting food.
What?
Yes. He knew that ashtrays gross me out. And to this day, if I see ash, I literally gag. And that's amazing for a pothead. I know.
I wasn't gonna go there, but
don't use ashtrays. I go to the trash can every time, or outside. I don't, because I can't smell it. I can't see it. It makes me sick.
Cigarettes, not weed.
Yeah, well, weed ash used to do it real bad to me too.
Oh,
You know, cigarette ash, cigarette butts make me gag to this day because every night when he thought I was done, he would put the ashtray that he would he would refuse to take it from the table, and it would be literally right in front of he and I, and then he would take it and put it in my plate.
wow. So
It's full of cigarettes and ash, and my dad looks like Clint Eastwood. Has the John Wayne mentality of don't ever apologize for anything, and would make a huge mess and yell at me for not cleaning up my mess.
So, okay, so you
And
grew up there
when
at 12 years old. You moved to Colorado. Same thing happened. Good sports.
Yeah, well, we moved to Colorado.
Yep.
I begged my mom to let me in to let me do baseball.
Yep.
And she finally let me. And I started meeting friends, which was nice.
Yep.
Because
Which,
again,
that's
I'm not going to
organized
school.
Organized sports, dude. That's what gets you. I mean, organized
Yep.
sports is where you meet friends. That's where you.
Yep. And remember, I'm not going to school.
And that's where I'm trying to, like, gonna do with Atticus and everything. Like, I don't care if you're doing soccer, whatever you're doing. Organized sports will teach you, like, it teaches you a lot, but it also, like, introduces you to a lot of people.
Our rule in this house was always with our kids, you got to do something, athletic, with the school, something,
Something. Yes.
When Dallas got a head injury and a back concussion in football. All right. Yep. All right. He started playing golf, which was awesome. He loved it because it was all on him. There was no anyone else like, oh, you're going to fail on me? Great. So I do great, but you fuck up when we fail. This was all on him. He loved the golf. But yeah, so we moved to Colorado. So from Texas to Summit County, Breckenridge, And so my dad's in construction, so that's why we moved there.
Okay.
And because it died out in Texas, and we used to vacation in Colorado every year during August. And so every year I had my birthday in Colorado, which was fine with me. And
A beautiful state. It's awesome.
yeah, so
I love it.
Finally move up here. I get to play baseball, so I'm getting to meet people. And everybody's like, wow, why don't you go to school? Why don't you go to school? So I always have to answer that question. But, I had all this time to devote. And so, I have to devote to it, And, like, when I tell you I never had my own room, like, I literally never had my own room. Like, I didn't share a room. One time, I had to, when we first moved to Colorado, my brother and I had to share a room, okay?
All right.
Which pissed him off and pissed my dad off. And he wanted me to sleep on the balcony.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
And so my brother gets to bed. I get a futon mattress that I have to roll up into the closet every day so no one sees that Dooley has to share a room with me. And I literally had all my stuff was in the closet. I had one little desk the size of like a TV tray, it was right in front of the window, so I could sit there and write poetry. And because I started writing poetry when I was 12. Like 11, 12, I saw Dead Poet Society and I fucking lost it,
Classic. That's a great movie.
Yeah. And so I started writing poetry, and a friend of mine in Texas I kept in contact with, he wrote too for me, and for quite a few years, nothing major. He got me to start writing. He's like, I'm like, I can't, because then my dad will see it and call me a pussy and beat me harder, My dad used to use the buckle of his belt.
Okay.
And so, all right, let me just focus on that for a second. So he had this buckle said N for Noble, okay? And it was a guy made it for him, and he loved this thing and would swing it and hit us with the buckle.
Why?
Okay?
For anything?
And just for anything, for the dog barking, for not picking up the dog shit in time. It's like
did he drink?
The dog did shit.
Was it like a drinking thing or what?
No, he didn't drink.
So what was it?
Just pure anger.
Wow.
He's just a very angry man, and pure anger. And he would hit my siblings, but yeah, he would tear me up and call me names, and
because he thought you were the youngest in the mistake or whatever it was.
And the mistake, I didn't want you.
Yeah.
You're done. You're dragging me down. You're costing me money. You're this. Why do you always cost me money? Things like that. And so when I turned 25, he gives me the belt and belt buckle and says, "You earn this more than the others."
Okay.
I had it in my house for like a week, maybe 2, and I mailed it to my brother. Said, "Here, you take it. I don't want this evil thing in my house." Because it was bothering me. It's in the closet up on the top shelf, but then I send it to my brother, and he makes a guitar strap and goes, "This is fucking badass, Dad's old buckle." Ha! I'm like, that thing's probably got some of my fucking flesh on it still, but that's all right. You're okay.
So, when was the whole baseball thing? Like, at this whole period? So you're 25 now. So you're 25 at this point when your dad gives you this. So then when...
Yeah, baseball was started, I turned 14, and I was able to start playing baseball.
Okay.
And we're still in Colorado, still in Summit, and start playing baseball, and I start getting really good, and I have all this time to devote to it and everything. And so my coaches start noticing, and the way it worked was there was only one team. There was all kinds of teams for the younger leagues.
Yeah, it was same for us. Yeah, same. Yeah. It's kind of how Wisconsin teams worked. It was like you have a bunch of different teams, and
one team, and we had to travel everywhere because nobody wanted to travel to us, shit like that, and it's snowing sometimes. It's like we got to travel everywhere, and it was a county league, not a school team.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we weren't associated with the school at all, so I didn't have to go to school to play. But coaches suggested that for me to be a better player, and the scouts were like, well, what school does he go to? And they would be like, he doesn't go to school? And so my coaches were like, you should really, you do good to go to school.
No.
And so I'm like, all right. And I played, and I was 17, okay, at this point, all right?
No.
So 3 years have passed. I'm 17, and the scouts are like, we love you, but we need to see you in school.
Academics.
So this has to happen. We have, just the ownership doesn't like it. No one likes that you're not in school. You need to learn some things, and I'm like, oh, whatever. So I had to talk my parents into letting me go to school. Wow. I had to beg them, literally beg them.
What did your dad say at this point?
He flipped out on me. Great, now I'm going to have to pay fucking taxes and shit. I'm going to have to pay fucking school taxes and everything. And
but
I'm like, no, you don't.
That's a normal thing.
In his mind. Okay, he dropped out of school when he was in before freshman. Yeah, he didn't get to high school. Yeah, he got to 7th to 8th grade. My dad.
Wow.
And none of my siblings went back to school once we were pulled out.
Really?
And my parents worked full time, so they weren't home to teach us. Homeschool. They literally handed us textbooks and said, read them and learn.
Homeschool does not work.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I hate it. I despise it.
No,
and
I've heard different stories of homeschool, and it does not work.
I was so socially awkward.
Exactly, and that's the reason it does not work. I mean, if you have
you don't leave your street.
See, that's what more we need in this podcast right now is your laugh. That's what we need.
I'm serious. When you don't leave your fucking street, who do you know? How do you know how to interact with people?
Yeah, and
I
think baseball probably did that for you, but
so awkward.
I mean, I've heard some parents say that they don't want to like take their kids to. D is smoking right now, which is fantastic. That's what I wanted.
Just blue smoke straight to the fucking land. Like,
perfect.
Whatever this thing is, screening thing, whatever. Yes. Keep talking.
So,
make mouth noise.
Parents. So parents, like, I'll hear some parents say, like, it's your choice, whatever you want to do with your kids, but your kid has to get out and witness the world. I mean, this is my opinion. Parents are going to be like, well, I know, I don't. But your kid has to get out.
Yep.
Your kid has to experience the world.
Who has 5 kids, and she homeschools them all.
The what? Say that again. Miss that again.
Bree has a cousin who has 5 kids.
Okay, gotcha.
She homeschools all of them. Always has.
Colorado mountain people?
No. Okay. She lives in Denver.
Mountain people?
No.
No one knows what mountain people. Do you know what I mean when I say mountain people?
Oh yeah. Excuse me. But the program requires her to take the kids to school every Friday.
That does nothing.
And to go on field trips with the school.
That basically says, hey, you don't have to work, but if you're going to work, you are mandated to go on casual Friday when everyone is checked out.
Exactly.
It means nothing.
I'm like, how does that work? And it's like, well, it's supposed to work better. I don't know. I'm not a big fan, but that's like the only positive side. Like
you need social interaction with people.
I noticed our kids are very awkward, and I noticed it in my cousins because we were all homeschooled.
You need social interaction.
Yep.
Otherwise,
my parents and my aunts and uncles and great uncle loved it because we could spend more time on the compound and learn the ways. I was pegged to be a preacher.
So wait, time out. This whole compound thing. I don't think anybody knows about that.
I skimmed over that.
Do you want to get into that or no?
It's up to you.
No, I don't think anybody knows about that, do they?
A few people.
So.
It's silence.
Well, no.
All right.
What age is what?
I'll just lay it out real quick. It'll take me a minute. Seriously.
Let's zoom through it then. That's fine.
Church of Christ.
Wait, Colorado or Texas?
Texas.
Okay.
Texas.
What age?
I got it. Yeah. From birth.
Okay. Your dad.
What's that?
Your dad?
My mom.
Wow. Okay.
My dad's anti-religion.
Okay.
My mom is hardcore religion.
Okay.
My mom's parents lived. My mom grew up in Abilene, Texas.
It's your grandparents.
Okay.
Your grandparents.
Yep, we're there, and so their house. Once my mom grew up and her siblings grew up and left, they moved out of town to this little town called Tuscola, and they live way outside of it. And there's a church house there, and their house is up on this little hill. I mean, we're talking dirt floors, okay?
Okay. Dirt
fucking floors. They swept and vacuumed the dirt fucking floors.
Okay. I'm following you. I can't. Okay.
So, to live off the grid, out of the fucking my whole family has a big thing with taxes. I don't understand.
It seems like this happens a lot in Texas. Like these weird fucking
Texas
cults.
people
And
do not want to pay taxes. It's very weird.
Not the not the taxes thing, but cults. It seems like there's
I think it's the heat. I really think it's the heat. It's hot down there.
I know that, but
attitudes don't help. So
death, taxes, spurs, and cults.
Right. So they live there. My grandpa's the head of the church, and we go there every Sunday, make the 2-hour drive. And growing up and I'm being dead serious with this whole story, okay, brother? I mean, I would not bullshit you. From the age, from when my first memories are me leading the church in the church house.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was tagged as the next preacher.
Really?
Of the family.
What age are we talking about here?
My grandpas were preachers.
Okay.
My granddaddy, my grandpa. I don't know my dad's side of the family, so this is all just my mom's side, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Granddaddy, grandpa, all my uncles, great uncles, their sons, they're all preachers.
Okay, so then they just pegged you right away at a young age, because you said you moved at 12.
Yep.
So from
right away,
birth to 12, they're preaching you to be a preacher.
And every church, every Sunday, I had to have a sermon ready for my part of the church, of the whole.
What?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Leading them in song, I'd have 2 to 3 songs picked, and if I had 3 songs, the sermon better be good. If I had 2 songs, the sermon better be longer.
Yeah.
And I've literally read the Bible almost 3 times now.
And the basic Bible that everybody knows, right?
Yes, the basic King James.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know. Okay.
And so I was given Bible on tape, went out for birthday and Christmas presents.
What's tape? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly, right? Bible on tape.
Shit.
When I was younger, I every kid got a kid Bible.
Yeah.
I got the real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, well, theirs has pictures.
There's pop-ups.
And so my great uncle, okay, my mom's
yep.
uncle.
Mom is the
all right.
Yep. Is your mom still alive?
Kingpin.
Your mom and dad still alive?
Yeah, they're both still alive.
Close to them still?
They're. Yep. They divorced. My dad blamed me, and it happened.
Shut the fuck up! Really?
Dead serious. Right after it was 2004, they divorced.
Wow. Okay. All right. So
it was. We'll get to that.
No.
And so.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just curious.
So my great uncle had this compound in North Texas. Okay.
Yep.
And we would spend every vacation there, summer, like majority of our summer breaks there. And that's where we would learn, and they blended Church of Christ ideology, okay, which is the ideology of a very vengeful God.
What's that religion? Because I know
it's Christianity.
Pretty much.
This is all 3. This is, that we preach Jesus, but it was mostly God, okay?
Yeah.
And heavy on God, some Jesus, but like some religions are all about Jesus, everything.
And I have no issues with whatever you believe, unless you're a fucking...
No, it's just...
Unless you're a Scientologist and you're fucking crazy.
Yeah. It gets very confusing to me, because there's offshoots like Church of Christ, in our family, Church of Christ.
So what do you believe right now?
I believe...
Well, we're going religion here.
I'm agnostic.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me proof and I'm cool.
Yeah.
No,
I see that.
Show me something. Yeah. I believe in what I can touch, see, and feel. Everything.
Totally. Yeah.
Like I believe in the earth. I'm really leaning towards a lot of Eastern philosophies at this point, because with where I'm at, starting to think maybe there's something there for me, so to try and heal me.
Totally, man. That's why I think. Okay, this kind of goes to like religion and politics. It's the same thing because it's a belief. It's whatever you believe, and exactly like what you just said. Like the what?
As well as ideologies and interpretations.
Completely, it's like whatever. But and see, here's my thing: is I don't care what you believe, like. Or even if somebody else, if like you, okay, let's say like we disagree on something, I'm still open to whatever you think. Like I'm not.
It's your belief.
I'm not gonna be like, dude, F you, you're a fucking idiot. I just said F and then you're a fucking idiot.
That was nice. That was nice.
No, it's
good
like,
job.
I'm gonna take everything in, and I'm not going to discredit you for anything unless
you're trying to hurt someone in your process.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason. And
That's right. Yeah.
And
why hurt someone in your process?
And I think that I wasn't going to lead to this because I think we were going on a good track there, but that's kind of where our country is right now. And I was going to maybe hit on it eventually, but I really wanted to talk about Cowboys and how your team sucks and
My team's the motherfucking best, motherfucker. You motherfucker better lay off my motherfucking team, motherfucker.
Well, we beat you, actually.
Don't even bring up anything, okay?
We beat you, actually.
Shut hole.
So angry.
Don't make me call fucking No ID Justin right now.
Hey, call him. Call him. He'll know.
He'll know where it's at.
No, he'll know what happened in the playoffs.
He'll just threaten to beat you on a basketball court.
Here's my prediction.
I'll beat you basketball.
Hey, here's my prediction. In 2 years from now,
what?
Everybody will figure out Dak, and he won't be as good as he was.
Well, here you got 2-star rookies, so you're holding your breath. I am, at least, that we don't have 2 sophomore fucking slumps.
Yep.
Yep. Because you got 2 rookies, and we don't have, our fucking defensive backs suck. All right, Barry Church, he's a good enough safety. Brandon Carr's a decent fucking corner. That kid out of fucking CU, that fucking safety. Yep. Corner there. And then we get, first round, we get fucking Taco to fucking defensive end.
Yeah.
Fucking Taco.
Yep.
Taco, my taco, motherfucker.
But I think Ezekiel will be fine. Because your offensive line is stacked.
Yep. Even though we got rid of Doug Free.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter.
I know, I'm happy about it.
But I think Dak will be the only one to suffer because defenses can figure out quarterbacks.
Yeah, my wife has the same theory.
If you're a running back and you have an amazing, cough, Emmitt Smith, not Barry Sanders. If you have an amazing line, that helps you. No, it does. It does. But I think if you're a quarterback and
No, it was funny because I was talking to my wife about this.
I'm happy with my Packers. My Packers got a better defense, and we improved 2 tight ends.
Oh, your tight ends.
Really?
Really?
How old is Jason Witten? Jason Witten?
There you go. Bringing up shit that has nothing to do with the other. Hey,
we got Martellus Bennett and Lance Kendricks now.
Martellus. We used to have Martellus.
Yeah, and you ditched him to the fucking Bears.
I
saw the Hard Knocks. He was on Hard Knocks, and I thought he was good. But Jerry Jones found a glory hole. And if you're listening and you don't listen to J More Sports, just Google Jerry Jones
maybe you should
glory hole days.
look into that a little further because Stephen Jones actually got rid of him because his aptitude tests kept coming back low scores. Guy, not too bright.
It doesn't
Not
matter.
too bright.
It's fine.
And the job of the tight end at the time was really, really specific. You know, it's like we want exactly what Jason Witten does.
Oh, yeah.
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 With the communications and recognizing certain defenses, he couldn't do it to what they wanted. So he went to someone who just wanted a tight end.
Does it make you nervous? Did it ever make you nervous that I played basketball against Tony Romo once?
No. Obviously.
He was better than I was at sports.
I hate to say it, but look where you're sitting.
I'm talking
and
to
look
you.
Where he's at.
I think I win.
What?
I win.
What? So, anywho, back to the fucking compound, because that's a much brighter story.
Yeah, we veered away from that quick.
Really? I noticed we get away from the negative really fast.
At any point, did you realize, okay, so you're at a compound, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you were following your mom more than your dad at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to be at a point where you're like, I need to get away from this. Or did your mom do it? Because who decided to get away to Colorado? Your dad, probably.
Oh, yeah. And it was weird because, the attachments, then be able to leave and go out to my uncle's place, even though it was raw out there. We're blending Church of Christ with the Third Reich.
Okay.
And telling us that we are Christian soldiers. Soldier.
When you bring that into the equation, it's terrifying.
We would send out in the woods, go live out in the woods on a few days' rations for a week. See how long you last.
Yeah.
There was a lot of oil rigs trying to be drilled on property they didn't want to be drilled on, so they would have us go and throw smoke bombs and Molotov cocktails and shit at the drillers. We're kids.
Yeah. What year is this?
What years? This was the 80s. Okay. I was, really young. I remember guard duties, marches, being baptized several times. And the last time I was baptized, I was in a robe. My great uncle was in a robe. He had a big family. All his kids, my siblings, so all my cousins and siblings are all in white robes singing.
So
holding candles. Very weird.
When did your dad decide we need to break free and we need to get out of here?
That started happening around the time I was 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he started asking me what goes on at Uncle Dove's house. He knew I would tell him.
Yeah.
Too scared not to. So I told him. And he looked at me never looked at me like that before. Okay, I got to get you out of there, kind of thing.
What went on?
And
what am I missing here? What went on?
Oh, at the compound?
No, with your Uncle Dog. Or what was he doing?
Well, he was orchestrating all this shit.
Oh, just being okay, all right. No, yeah.
Gotcha. Compound leader,
Okay, I thought he was fucking around or something. No, okay. All right.
He was.
With you or everybody else?
No, never me. Okay. Never me. The
just
daughters.
Okay, yeah. All right. Just a
all
piece
the
of
daughters.
shit. Okay.
His daughters.
Asshole. Okay.
House was built around a room. Yeah, let's just
All right, yeah. Okay. So your dad wanted, at that point, he's like, we need to get out of here. We're done with this.
We got to get out of here. And so he's like, all right, so every summer, let's go on vacation let's make a longer vacation. We've been going to Colorado. Let's do the whole month of August.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he was like, we got, okay, well, I need him here because we're gonna do the whole lawn. We're gonna do this. We lived on a lake in Texas, and we had a boat dock, and he wanted to do a big swing out to the water and a couple of diving boards for us to try and keep us there.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Try and keep us home. And so he's like telling my mom, sorry, I need the kids, they need to be here to help, so I got to have them. And so that helped us a lot. My Uncle Dove would do shit that was really bad. And when we did bad things, he'd either get us with the cattle prod or get us with the bullwhip.
So as this was going on, you were getting that shit, and then you were getting your dad's.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Did it both ways. And my uncle would try and make himself out to be the nice guy.
How old are you, D?
He would. I'm 41.
So you're not even that much older than me. Okay, that isn't. It's just insane to me. So I'm sorry.
I'm
trying to put it in perspective. Like, yeah.
When I would I was still such a kid. When we would do good things, my rewards were Transformer toys, and GI Joes.
That's fucking cool, though.
Right? I would do good things. I learned how to beat up my brother. With some new moves.
Yes.
I learned how to. I stayed out in the woods longer. Than the last time, and
So your dad. So your dad's took and just said, "All right, you know what? We're moving to Colorado."
One of the things that broke me, that once I found out what happened, it just snapped me, and I just went weird for a while as a young kid. My uncle had my brother and his two sons, my cousins. They were all older than me. A tree, because he found out.
Wait, say that again. It cut out for a second.
My uncle had my brother, who's older,
yeah,
and my older two cousins,
okay,
boys, all three, because he found out I was afraid of spiders.
Okay.
And he saw me with snakes, all kinds of snakes. Would grab. That was one of our first things. That I go out and hunt snakes. Bring them in if you can catch a snake.
I hate spiders. Spiders are the worst.
Can't stand them. So he had the three of them tie me to a tree.
I'm listening, by the way.
And put tarantulas. Yeah. Tie me to a tree and put tarantulas on me.
What?
Yep. I can't loop my finger into my glasses to scratch my eye because it reminds me of a tarantula leg going over my glasses.
Wait. Where would he get these tarantulas from? What the fuck?
Oh, we're in Texas. They're walking through the yard. We're in North Texas, and their house was back in the woods.
So he'd grab these tarantulas and put them on you. And
yep, they went out and grabbed. I think it was 3 tarantulas, from what I remember, and because they all grabbed one, and they put them on me. And every time the tarantulas tried to go away, they put them back on me. And
no wonder you're so happy now.
And that's a hard one. And so my uncle came out yelling and screaming at them. What are you doing to him? And then my brother and my cousins tell me that was his idea. That was my uncle's plan, was to try and get me not afraid of spiders by having them on me. Well, so he'll just not be afraid.
It's a bullshit reasoning where it's like, hey, let's get the gay out of you by doing this.
Yeah,
and
taking you out of you.
That doesn't work.
No, that's a stupid macho tough guy attitude.
Yeah.
And it permeates throughout my family, and they all try to be way too macho. My brother is now a wannabe biker with swastika tattoos on him, on his forearms. And, he's got 50 tattoos, and they're just none of them are good. None of them are nice. The idiot's got a Tabasco bottle tattooed on him. What's next? A ketchup bottle?
Mustard.
He doesn't like that joke.
Maybe sriracha. It's sriracha.
Yeah. Fucking, I'm like, what's some tapatio? You know? I like that shit. So,
All right.
my dad snatched up, said, fuck it. There's no work for me in Texas. Construction is dried up. We're moving to Colorado. We move.
But he did that to get you out of there?
He get us out of there.
But he did. So he did
my mom
kind of care about.
He
did kind of care about you a little bit to get you out of there.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, that's my wife tells me this a lot. Reminds me of that, you know, she's like, your dad saved you more than you think.
Yeah. And
which is true. It's very true, and I have to give him credit for that. So he's like, I remember conversations because we worked with him, my brother and I, on job sites. Yeah. And building houses and shit. And he would tell us, I gotta get your mom away from her fucking family. Her fucking family is just gonna drive us all to the loony bin. Yeah. You know, her family is gonna get you kids killed, you know.
Probably would have. I mean, you think about
Can you imagine your wife dragging your kids off, doing God knows what? I mean, they would teach us how to use weapons, and I still to this day love knives and throwing stars and staves because that's what I was taught to use as a young child. So it's just a muscle memory.
I think whenever we went to visit Colorado, my grandma would teach me how to shoot guns at, like, cans.
Yeah.
But I don't remember how to do it anymore.
Yeah. It's like literally taking a dowel rod, you know, a 2-inch, inch and a half round dowel rod, and like smacking your brother upside the head with it without any headgear. Yeah. Yeah. Or, you know, like having to hold your hands out, holding the rod, and have someone else take another rod.
Yes.
And smack your knuckles.
So
to make sure you don't drop the rod. Stupid shit.
All right, so after all of this, and now we're at a point now.
Who does that? So playing baseball.
I'm gonna fast forward now. How do we get to a point where we're at now, where you probably have the most infectious laugh in the world, and you seem like the most positive person in the world? Like, did you just put the shit behind you and say, you know what, I've been through a ton. It's not worth it anymore. Let's just be happy.
I've been through, I've put myself through worse and been through worse than what, I don't know, just how does that, I don't know, it's just, it all started the first 3 years of the RSD.
So 2005-ish?
5, 6, 7.
Yep.
And even 2008. I was in a bad way. Pissed, depressed. I was on 3 narcotics and handfuls of them. I was on morphine, Percocet, and Norco.
That's it?
And, yeah, right?
When did they say, let's try some weed?
Once we left, all right, so 2000, after the surgery in 2005, you know, everything happened, trying treatments, and then the doctor's like, we don't know what's wrong, but you're probably going to die soon. So it'd be best if you went and spent some time with your family.
Why would they even recommend that if it was a nerve disorder, which they wouldn't even know about?
They didn't know because the pain is so bad. I'm throwing up. I'm wandering around at night. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why this is happening. They don't know if there's some kind of infection that they can't kill.
Yeah.
They don't know what is going on because they were looking so exotic. One point, they thought I had tuberculosis. And I asked the doctors in Bell Hospital at the time, I'm like, do y'all have like a bunch of disorders on the wall and you blindly throw a dart and whatever it hits is what I have?
And that's
is that what we're doing here?
Again, I want to
all the antibiotics that were running through me were destroying me.
Yeah, I just want...
Yeah.
So just to kind of redo what you're doing, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, right?
Yep. Sorry, I was taking medicine.
No, that's fine. What's the new name for it though? Not RSD, or is that it?
CRPS. CRPS.
What does that stand for?
Chronic Regional Pain Syndrome.
Anybody who's listening to this, I want them to know what it is.
Right on. I like that.
And I want to know, like, if there's anywhere that you can just donate money or do something. Walks are cool, but
yeah,
if there's no research in it, it sucks.
There's a few places out there, but not one. If you want to know where to donate money to help the cause,
Yes.
check with at Burning Nights on Twitter.
What is it?
Burning Nights.
Burning Nights?
Yep.
I'll put it.
It's a Twitter.
I'll do it when I post this.
Okay, thank you.
I'll throw it up there.
I try and be real careful with places unless I've talked to them and like had conversation with them and whatnot and found out what they're all about. You know, if it's one person
Legit.
just trying to get a message out or if they're actually involved and tied in with things.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, people are some
They're
funny.
based out of England, but it's kind of nice to get, to know that there's lots of people out there. It affects about 20,000 people a year. Pardon me. And there's no cure. There's no treatments. It's all learn as you go. Because like I said, some people have it in just a hand. Some people have it in their neck. Because within that 6-month time frame, you can stop it from spreading.
Where do you have it? All over?
I have full body, unfortunately. It started in my spine because it went to my spine, it spread more rapidly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so here we are, spring 2006, being told they don't know what's going on. They don't know if this can kill me or if this can't. They don't know what it is that I'm dealing with. Maybe it's time to go see family, So we go down to Texas to see my family, and they're in North Texas, just south of Dallas. And so we end up finding this great pain specialist who's one of the top pain specialists in the country. And we hit him right like a couple of years before he's retiring. Okay?
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm getting ready to close shop, not really taking on that many patients. But then we present him with what's going on. He's like, yeah, I'll definitely see you. And within, it wasn't even 5-10 minutes, and he told me I had RSD.
He knew because he's been with it so long. He knows.
He's like, when you came in, I saw you. The way you walked in, you barely carrying yourself. You have to use that cane. And he's like, your legs from my knees down were bright red and very swollen.
Yeah,
with pain and edema.
He knew exactly. He saw everything that you've been through, and he's like, "Yep, I know what you're doing."
He even called in his assistant and said, "Here, come here. This is perfect. This is a classic case of RSD. Look at him."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh wow, look at his legs. You can see he's swollen in his throat, and his face is all flushed red. Like bright red. And like that Bulls jersey behind him. Yeah, like crazy." And
I don't even know what you're looking at right now, actually.
What's ever behind you?
Right here, the Jordan jersey.
Yep.
Oh, yep.
The Bulls jersey. Yep.
We'll take. I'll show you a tour. I'll show you a tour when we're done.
Right on. And so he's like, we got what medications are you on? And I showed him the list. Yeah. So he's like, at the time I'm on Vicodin. It's a Vicodin, but it's instead of acetaminophen, it's cut with ibuprofen.
Okay.
And so he's like, why are you on a short-term pain medication for a long-term pain disorder? Well, I don't know. This is what they've had me on. I'm like, I don't even know what is going on anymore.
You take whatever they give you and you just don't care. You're like, whatever,
yeah,
give it to me.
They tell me this will work.
Yeah.
We look it up. We figure out what it is. We're like, wow, that's an anti-seizure medication. Why am I taking that for a muscle relaxer? For my spasms. Because they're like, your spasms are that bad. You've got to take this shit that fucking will knock out a horse. First time I took it, within an hour, I was out. So we started doing treatment with him, spinal injections, twice a week. Bree would hear me screaming from the lobby. And he's like, you're not getting any relief. And then he's like, we're going to do these. Because the only time you ever get sleep is on Tuesday nights, because it was on Wednesday nights, so I would get a shot Tuesday and a shot Wednesday. And on Wednesday nights, I slept good. And that was the only night of the week I would sleep good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nights around in 2006 where I'm sleeping with the Bible on my chest, doing anything I can, and I was not a big believer, at the time. But I'm like, scooping back into old school shit here.
Whatever works. Like whatever works. This is what I grew up with. Whatever works.
Yeah. Right? I'm like, this is what I know, so let's do it. My mom keeps hammering it into me. So again, because she's we're living right there in the same town. A few blocks away from her.
Well, she's old school, and that's what they do.
Yeah. And so, man, we were trying everything. Yep.
Still listening.
And I had to use a walker at the time, and it was one of those that had the brakes on it, and it had a seat in case that when I had to rest, I could sit down. And that was just to get across the house. It was fucking nuts. Just nuts. So Bree's parents were like, hey, we're moving down the mountain from Summit County, Breckenridge area there. It's like 8,000 feet, really hard winters. Especially somebody with pain disorder, cold and heat affects you. We're moving to Canyon City. We'd love you guys to come and live there with us. Let's build a house. Let's do something. Let's do this. And so instead of building a house, which we had kind of tentatively planned and had some blueprints drawn up, but nothing ever set in stone. Because we're like, we don't have any money. We're filing for disability and shit. I can't work, and we've been seeing doctors forever. We're broke as shit. We've been living with you guys, and they're like, yeah, we know. And so they ended up buying us this house that we're in. Not like, here's a gift, but here's this house. You pay us, kind of thing. Same with our car, just works out. Because Bree's a student now full time. She went back to school, which is awesome, going for her journalism degree now. And so she's got to be driving a lot, so we needed a car. And then she got into an accident, so we really needed a car because the car got totaled. And so her parents were like, hey, we've got this other car. It just stays in the garage. We never use it. It's a nice car. It's a Chrysler 300.
Oh,
and,
fancy.
Yeah. Right? Fancy. We went from a fucking shitty RAV4, two-wheel drive RAV4, and now we're in this fucking grandpa mobile. It's silver.
With the
fucking tinted windows. Thing is fucking pimped out with a sunroof and shit. I'm like, damn, fucking don't take time. So we moved back, and they got us a house and stuff. It was rocky at first, and her dad's like, I don't know what it is, me and dad's, but her dad's like, he's not going to move in there. But then, we got things worked out, and he and I are in better terms now because he has recently hurt his hip. And
he needs help. He needs help.
And he's like, oh my God, he's telling Bree, which is Bree's, that's her stepdad, and he's like, wow, I can't believe. So Darrin goes through pain like this. She's like, well, that's just his hip. He also hurts in his other leg, in his feet, and his knees, his arms, his head, his chest. his back, his this. He's like, Jesus, what? How does he function? How does he laugh? How is he always happy? And she's like, that's where he's gotten to be. And that's simple. It's like, I've realized something, okay? Going through all this pain, dealing and fighting with the darkness, all right? Because pain is darkness. And within that darkness, there is no laughter. There are no smiles. There's only misery, okay?
I'm
Within
following
that
you, dude.
darkness,
Yeah.
there's only misery. So, if there is no laughter within the darkness, that means the darkness hates laughter. Okay? If I can laugh at my situation, if I can laugh at pain, I'm winning. All right? I'm winning the fight instead of taking fucking punches and fucking spears and fucking cuts and fucking just feeling like I'm being like, it always feels like I've got the worst sunburn ever. So any touch is just like, ugh. Doctors say with my disorder, it's like if I stub my shit hurts 10 times worse than it should. It's amplified tenfold. So stubbing my toe literally feels like I broke my foot. And so small things hurt drastically more than they should. You know, there's days brushing my hair kills me. But I keep it because within my hair, this may sound like the dumbest thing ever. Within my hair is strength. Okay? As soon as I start growing out,
you have hair, I don't, so I'm jealous.
squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.
Don't squeaky the computer. No one can see that. They're just
I
listening.
know, but I had to. It's on my screen.
No.
Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. You got this nice shine from that light coming down on you.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, it's so fast.
Everybody's listening to this, and Darrin is squeaking my monitor, and he's holding his bog right now.
So
No, dude, and you know what? That kind of gets me to when J More Sports is on.
Yeah.
I'm
wearing my Wii shirt.
I know. I took a picture.
I'm telling the people.
Hashtag we is a special thing. It's a bad signal. Yeah. I mean, it's a silly radio show, and you tweet in. You tweet in, and you win Twitter hat trick. You get 3 tweets read, and you're like, okay, cool. And
you get followed by JJ.
Yes. First time it happened with me, I was like, everybody congratulated you, and it was the coolest thing in the world. It was like everybody around, where you're meeting people around the country. And I always say it's a motley crew group of people. And I won't say much more about special groups. But let's just say you meet people and you talk to people, and seriously, dude, there's been friendships have been made because of a national radio station.
I've had Warriors stop by my house.
Yes. And I was supposed to be there, but I missed that trip.
Scotty G's been here twice.
Yes.
Scotty G has been here fucking twice with 3 times, actually, I should say.
Yes. And the Dean would make it a point to call you, and I'm like, when he wanted to call me, and I'm like, I don't know if I feel like I'm comfortable with that. And then I talked to him. I talked to the dude for 2 hours, and I'm like, okay, my wife thinks this is weird now. Like, I'm talking to a guy named Dean who drew me a T-shirt.
That's a short conversation, a 2-hour one. That's a shorty.
No, because I had to cut it off.
Yeah, right. We gotta say, dude, I gotta go. My ear is numb.
I'm sweating. My ear is sweating.
I do speakerphone. I'd be like, dude, sorry, but I'm speakerphoning because and my ears not to be fucking hurting and numb. And to get real.
Yeah.
Really, really real. Because I've been really real this whole time, and I'm very proud of myself.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing how a radio show, sports talk radio show, has brought together so many people.
And touched so many people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Not just prosecuted, but touched them first to get them.
Yeah.
Before, and I'll, you really here. Before Jay's show, I had a plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a plan. And, you know, then I started, because I had nothing.
Yeah.
Kids, but I just didn't feel like I could keep up with anything. I couldn't do anything, you know, and everything I did just failed miserably, you know, because I couldn't do anything I used to, and I couldn't, nothing's working. Pain's getting worse. I can't, you know, I could stand up before and walk around some, but then it gets worse and worse, and I use my chair more, and finally I use my chair majority of the time, and it was getting really hard. And then Jay, and then one day he's talking about weed and weed for pain, and he was like, "Oh, come on, there's no." And Dave Keckner was on.
Yep.
And JJ was talking about how he's like, "Oh, there's no way weed helps the pain. I mean, come on, you just want to get high, right?" And Keckner was like, "No, Jay, there's strains out there specifically for pain, for nausea, for arthritis, for leg cramps, for menstrual cramps. There's migraine weed. There's a vast array." And he's like, "Really? I don't know." So I sent in a tweet, first one ever read, and letting him know that I used pot I'm trying to come off Percocet too. Okay? Stay on the morphine and get rid of the Percocet.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the Percocet just makes me angry and I don't like it. My family doesn't like it. I don't like it. And so we're working hard, trying to work out the Percocet using pot and the cannabis oil. Okay? Using, lotions and using the oil that I take orally and smoking it. And so I can let them know that it works. Hey, it works for the pain. I'm able to switch out a narcotic for this weed, this strange thing that the hippies always smoked and everyone always thought was for burnouts and shit. Now it's, it's a little more than that. And he was blown away, and he was like, wow, and then No ID Justin and Reedman and Nate they got a hold of me right away.
Right,
Texting,
remember
tweeting
Nate.
me. What's that?
Now remember Nate?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. They all three quickly tweeted me, and were like, "Wow!" Jay asked me to call in, so I called, and they're like, "For somebody to open up to a national radio show like that and tell people," I'm like, "But if one person out there heard me that's in pain and goes, wow, I don't have to just stick to the pills. I can use pot for pain, for nausea." I'm like, then that's worth it to me.
Yeah.
If the pills they kill. And so that, just like, just like everyone else, it saved me. And the people that we know because of Jay Motorsports and Jay himself, Dan Ramos, Kelly Lowry, you, fucking Cozy, fucking Marco, fucking Dean, No, and I'll even put Ortiz in there. I'm not afraid to say that. A little spiky hair fucker. So, and just, it was such a powerful thing. This stupid show is more
stupid
about
fun, stupid
community.
It's crazy how we all combine together, and that's how I'm talking to you.
Exactly.
And I think I'll end it on that for now.
Right on.
We had a good talk.
Yeah, thanks, man. Sorry, I kind of went everywhere.
No, let's end it on that, and then we'll talk soon.
Right on. I will see you. You know where?
Yeah, I do.
Love you, brother.
We don't talk about it.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right. Later, brother.
Later.
Bye.
Later, man.